Butch Hancock and Jimmy Dale Gilmore, live from Australia and live in the KPFT studios. We have a very special guest today. He's released at least 19 albums, not counting compilations, not counting work with the Flatlanders, not counting the Grammy Award-winning Loose Super 7 album. He's been on tour all month in support of his latest CD, Satisfied at Last, which came out June 7th, and came through Houston last Saturday at the Firehouse Saloon. Hope you got a chance to catch that show. In case you missed him, he's back. He made a special trip to KPFT, and it is our pleasure to welcome back Joe Ely. Joe, thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning.
There you go. Good morning to you. Now you can hear yourself.
Yeah.
And now you've been all over the country for the past
Well, the eastern part, yeah, we went north and east.
And Midwest.
Minneapolis, cross over to Maine, and then down the East Coast, and then zigzag through the middle.
And now you did Mountain Stage when you were on the road as well.
Yeah, we were Mountain Stage about a week ago, and ran into Jimmy Dale and his Wrangler bunch, and did the Mountain Stage show together.
And if you have not heard the Mountain Stage radio show, it is now online at npr.org, so you can go check that out and hear hear all of Joe's music, hear all of Jimmy Dale's music, so all available to you now. So now you're going to Canada.
I go to Canada this weekend and come back, and I won't even have a chance to repack. I head straight to Italy.
Wow. Well, now Canada, I did actually check just because I know you care. And in Manitoba, where you're going, it's like it's 70s now. Sunny, 70s.
Okay.
So
all right.
I know you're ready to kind of escape the heat after being back in Texas for a few days.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a shock, but you know, I'm used to it.
Well, now Canada, you're going to be in Canada, what, 3 separate times in the next 6 weeks?
We go to Canada, then go to Italy, then back to Canada, then back to Texas, and back to Canada.
Boy, those Canadians, they better like make you honorary citizens or offer you like free health care or something like that. I don't know.
I hope so.
Well, now Italy, because you've been into Italy many, many times. What's it like touring in Italy?
Well, you know, it's like being in a carnival. It's did you ever see Fellini's Amarcord?
Sure.
You know, with the motorcycle rider driving through the middle of town, and the families, you know, going out and having picnics, and Italy is just this one constant kind of a I don't know what you'd call it. It doesn't seem quite real. It's everyone is kind of more into just enjoying life than they are into working and stuff. You know, there's this kind of idea of, well, let's have a 4-hour lunch, you know.
And the schedule's not important, right?
And the schedule, yeah, we're always trying to be on time, and the promoter says, oh, in Italy we're not so precise.
Well, we do have some listeners overseas, so if you're in Italy listening right now, you can go to Joe's Facebook page, and those cities are posted, and hopefully you'll have a chance to catch one of those shows. So
yeah, there's we always have great shows there, and you know, it's we got the same band that played here last weekend traveling to Italy, so it'll be the first time that particular band's been back to Italy in a while, so we should have a great time.
That's great. Now, let's step back a little bit to when you started your own record label, which is 2007, and so you came out with 2 albums at the same time as your book, and in your book, Bonfire Roadmaps, you actually talked about some of those trips through Europe and things like that. And what brought all those things together when you brought that out?
Well, yeah, that you mean what brought the
what brought the book and the 2 records and everything came out?
Well, it was kind of started with Terry Allen was working on a project with them, and I guess they'd talked to Terry, and Terry had told them about these journals that I'd kept on and off since I started traveling back in the 70s, and so they approached me and asked if I'd like to publish those, and I said absolutely not. I'd never written them to be read, because they were just kind of notes from the road that sometimes I'd turn into a song. Sometimes they'd kind of take on a life of their own and turn into a story. And so I never thought about publishing them, because I just thought, you know, they're something that I needed to hang on to. But then as I started looking at them, I realized there was enough complete journals, like a complete tour maybe. You know, there was one a tour of Europe, one jumping freight trains across America, and each one was a little story. So I thought, well, they kind of hold up as stories, and unfortunately, I'd lost quite a few of my 4 years. Drove away in a taxi cab
oh wow!
In front of the Chelsea Hotel in New York City, never to be seen again.
Well, that's a whole story in and of itself.
And another probably 2 years. I woke up one morning in a hotel room by New Braunfels, and there was water in my room equal to how high my bed was. In fact, it was kind of lapping over. I was having dreams about being in a rowboat, and I woke up in a flooded room, and the river had flooded over, and there were all my writings floating around the room along with my clothes.
Oh.
And so I realized that, you know, the ones that had made it through all that, maybe it's time to, you know, let them be read.
So the book is Bonfire Roadmaps, and it's now in its third printing from UT Press?
I believe it's the third printing, yeah.
Wow. And you've got a novel, too, that's kind of waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I just don't know what I'm going to do with that. I keep threatening to find a publisher for it, but then I get busy on some other project. So maybe this might be the year that I find something to do with that. It's called Super Reverb, and it kind of a semi kind of biographical, autobiographical pieces of stories that kind of happened before I actually got going in the music world with the Flatlanders and with my band. And it was when I first took off out of Lubbock and was, you know, well, one of the chapters was playing here at the Cellar Club.
Really?
Back in the 60s.
Well, what was in that chapter?
Well, it was just kind of as much as I could remember of the old Cellar Club in Fort Worth, and then playing the one here downtown when it was on Market Square. And so it's just little stories from that era on to the West Coast when you know, right in the middle of the 60s, the Summer of Love and Venice, California, and Haight-Ashbury, and you know, I was sleeping in the park, playing guitar on the streets, and having a merry old time.
Well, we can't wait for that novel to come out. You need to get that out.
It's you know, it's there, so I'm not worried about it. But you know, maybe this year I'll have a little time at the end of the year to focus on that.
Well, you've been speaking of other projects. You have been working on other projects, and new album, Satisfied at Last, just came out last month. And so the title, I mean, I've read all kinds of theories from reviewers as to what the title means, but in your own words.
Well, I just thought there was actually a song that came before I even thought about using the title for the record. And the song came about, in fact, it kind of felt like kind of a 60s kind of a vibe to the song, but it's really just you know, saying that you know, after you hit a stretch of bumpy road, there's bound to be a stretch of smooth road coming up. And it all kind of started when I picked up Muddy Waters when he came into Lubbock in the 70s to play at Stubbs. Stubbs was throwing a big show, blues show at the Cotton Club. And I picked him up in my old Coupe de Ville and asked him about his life on the road. And he said, yeah, every day is 2 hours of misery and 22 hours of misery and 2 hours of ecstasy. And he said, at the end of the show, I'm always finally satisfied. And so it was kind of like each day kind of ended with the end of the show, you know, and he's like, you know, can take a breath and then get up in the morning and hit that other bumpy road, you know. But I just thought it was a good name for a record, because everything on there is kind of a circular feel to it, you know. It's kind of it starts off with the highway, which has always kind of been my home, and it goes on into kind of songs that have to do with kind of completing the circle, and everything from Billy Joe Shaver's song "I'm Gonna Live Forever" to different things in there. A song called "Roll Again" and "I'm a Man," and everything has to do with kind of just life's journey, and I'm kind of at a point where I can kind of look back, take it all in, and then head out on the next wherever it's going to be.
Well, great. Well, you are listening to Joe Ely on KPFT Houston. Let's hear that title track. This is "Satisfied at Last" from Joe Ely.